I don't know who needs to hear this, but you've been walking around like you're all alone. Like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Like the storm you're in has the final say. But I came to tell somebody today, if God is with you, then who can be against you? That anxiety, it can't overpower him. That heartbreak, it's not greater than him. That enemy plotting behind your back, oh, they're playing checkers while God is playing chess. When the most powerful walks beside you, you don't fear the arrows flying by day or the darkness creeping in by night, because you are not walking alone. If he is with you, then no opposition can stand. Not for long, not forever. So don't let fear sit in the driver's seat of your life. Don't let the whispers of doubt drown out the truth, because I came to remind you, the one who created the heavens and the earth is with you. And if he is with you, then nothing and no one can truly be against you. When you're aware of who walks with you, you stop being intimidated by what walks against you. The problem is never really the size of the battle. It's not the size of the mountain. It's not how loud the storm is, how fierce the attack feels, or how far the opposition has gone. The real issue is awareness. Awareness of who is with you. See, when people lose sight of the one who never leaves their side, they start measuring the fight by human standards. They start counting the enemies. They start calculating the odds. They start listening to fear instead of faith. And suddenly the problem becomes louder than the promise. But when you know deep in your bones, deep in your soul, that God is with you, something shifts. You can be surrounded and still feel safe. You can be outnumbered and still feel calm. You can be walking through fire and still come out untouched, not because of your strength, not because you have all the answers, but because the one who holds all power, all knowledge, all control is standing with you, guiding your every step. Think about it. When a child walks through a dark place alone, they're terrified. But that same child holding the hand of their father, suddenly they feel bold, confident, secure, not because the darkness changed, but because they know who is with them. That's the power of presence. When the Creator is with you, you stop bowing to created things. You stop fearing people who hold no real power. You stop shrinking in the face of things that look bigger than you, because now you're walking with the one who's bigger than everything. Enemies may come, trials may come, pain, loss, betrayal. Yes, they may knock on your door, but they don't get to write the end of your story. The presence of God in your life is not a promise that life will be easy. It's a promise that you will never walk it alone. That you are never abandoned. That even in the fire, even in the flood, even when you feel like you're losing, it's not over. Because he is with you. And when you truly know who is with you, when you carry that awareness into every room, into every challenge, into every valley, you begin to walk different, talk different, think different. You no longer let fear set the tone. You no longer let worry steal your peace. You no longer let threats move you, because you know, if God is with me, who can be against me? Not just words. That's a declaration. That's a lifestyle. That's a reminder every time you feel shaken, every time the road looks uncertain, every time you face something you didn't expect. Remind yourself the problem isn't the real threat. Forget the size of the opposition. Forget the noise. Forget the storm. Focus on the presence. Because when you're aware of who walks with you, you stop being intimidated by what walks against you. Even if the whole world turns their back on you, you are not outnumbered if God is with you. It doesn't matter how many voices speak against you. It doesn't matter how loud the criticism gets, how many eyes are watching and waiting for you to fall, how many people walk away, or how isolated you feel. People will leave, crowds will change, support will shift. But what never changes, never moves, never leaves is the presence of the one who knows the truth of your heart and the path he's prepared for you. Sometimes the journey you've been called to walk doesn't come with applause. It doesn't come with fans. In fact, the deeper you go into your purpose, the more resistance you may face. the more determined your walk, the more people may misunderstand you. And when that happens, it's easy to start questioning everything. If everyone is against me, how can I be right? But truth has never depended on majority approval. The right path has never been defined by popular vote. History shows again and again that those who stood for truth often stood alone. They were mocked, rejected, ridiculed, not because they were wrong, but because they didn't fit the comfort zones of others. And yet every single time, those who remained firm, those who placed their trust, not in people, but in the one who sees all, they prevailed. Not because they were the loudest, not because they were accepted, but because they were never truly alone. Being outnumbered in the eyes of the world doesn't mean you're defeated. It might just mean you're in the right place. Sometimes the fewer people standing with you, the more space God has to show you that He is enough, that He is your defender, that He is your protector, that He is your source of strength, and not the approval of people. So when you find yourself abandoned by the ones you thought would be there, when your circle gets smaller, when the support goes quiet, don't panic. Don't retreat. Don't change course just to win back their favor. Look up. Remember who assigned you. Remember who watches over you. If He is with you, then you're never the minority. You are not alone. You are not exposed. You are not vulnerable in the way you think you are. There are moments in life where separation is protection, where isolation is a gift, where the removal of people is not a punishment, but a positioning. Because some journeys are too sacred to be crowded. Some victories are designed to be won with just you and your Creator, so that when it's all said and done, nobody else can take the credit. Nobody else can say they carried you. You'll look back and say, it was only Him. And you'll realize it was never about numbers, never about who clapped for you, who understood you, who walked beside you physically. It was always about who sustained you spiritually, who whispered strength into your soul, who made a way when there was no way. So even if the whole world turns away, don't be discouraged. Don't fold under the pressure of being misunderstood. Don't let the silence of others drown out the nearness of the one who truly matters. If He is with you, then you are never outnumbered. You are covered. You are guided. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. God's plan is already in motion before the enemy even makes a move, before you even saw the challenge coming, before the betrayal happened, before the storm began forming on the horizon. He already knew. He already prepared. He already made a way through it. That means nothing you face is a surprise to Him. You might be caught off guard, but He never is. What looks sudden to you is already accounted for in His divine design. You have to understand there's nothing reactionary about the way God works. He doesn't scramble to respond when things go wrong in your life. He doesn't wake up shocked at what the enemy's doing. No. His knowledge encompasses everything from beginning to end, from past to future, from seen to unseen. So the schemes and plots that rise against you, they are late. They are already behind. They are walking into a story that has already been written, and the ending is not in their favor. That's why you don't have to panic when things shift suddenly. That's why you don't fall apart when attacks come unexpectedly. You were never meant to live in fear of the next move of the enemy, because you serve the one who holds the first move, the last move, and every move in between. You are not living in reaction. You are living under the shadow of perfect preparation. Every trial you're in, it's a page in the book He authored before you were born. Every hardship, every closed door, every loss, it's not a detour, it's not an interruption, it's part of the path He saw before your feet ever touched it. And not only did He see it, He made provision for it. He arranged strength for the day it would come. He arranged healing for the wound you didn't know you'd carry. He arranged escape from traps you didn't even know were set. So stop giving fear so much power. Stop overestimating what the enemy can do. Stop acting like God is trying to catch up to your situation. The plan was never to avoid the valley. The plan was to walk through it and come out stronger on the other side. The enemy might mean it for your harm, but he doesn't control the outcome. Because when God speaks over your life, no force can undo it, no weapon can cancel it, no delay can destroy it. Even when you see the enemy moving, even when it feels like darkness is closing in, remind yourself, this is not new. This is not beyond the scope of what God already factored in. He is not adjusting his plan because of what you're going through. What you're going through is already part of his plan, and that should give you peace. That should give you confidence. That should give you boldness to keep standing, to keep walking, to keep trusting, even when everything looks like it's falling apart, because it's not falling apart, it's falling into place. The enemy will try, he will push, he will whisper lies, he will send distractions, but he is always behind schedule, always trying to sabotage something that's already been secured. God doesn't just operate in response. He is always ahead, always preparing, always aligning things for your good, even in the middle of the battle. So when the enemy makes a move, lift your head and remind your soul the plan is already in motion, and no force on earth or beyond it has the power to reverse what God has already written. Trials don't mean you're abandoned. They're proof you're being strengthened. It's one of the hardest truths to accept when you're in the middle of struggle, that pain can be a gift, that hardship can carry purpose, that the storm you're fighting through is not a sign of divine absence, but a sign of divine preparation. We live in a world that often equates comfort with favor, ease with blessing, and struggle with punishment. But that's not how divine strength is formed. When a person is chosen for something greater, they're not preserved in glass. They're not kept away from difficulty. They're placed right in the furnace. Because just like gold is purified by fire, just like steel is forged by heat and pressure, your character is carved in the middle of the very situations you would never choose for yourself. So when you find yourself in trials, not one, not two, but a series of them, don't let your mind go to the lie that says you've been left alone. Don't believe the whisper that says you're not loved or you're forgotten, because those thoughts are rooted in fear, not in truth. The truth is, every trial that touches your life is allowed through divine wisdom and for divine purpose. You are not going through the fire to be burned. You are going through it to be refined. Strength does not appear on its own. Endurance isn't inherited. Patience isn't downloaded overnight. They are built, they are trained, they are grown in the gym of pressure and the classroom of struggle. The path to depth will never be paved in comfort. The road to maturity will never be free of obstacles. It is the trial that produces the muscle. It is the test that builds the testimony. And let's be real. Some lessons you wouldn't have learned any other way. Some wisdom you carry now, you gained through the pain you cried through. Some strength you stand in now, you only have because you walked through something that nearly broke you. So instead of despising the trial, look deeper. Instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what is being built in me? Because every trial has a reason. Every storm comes with a message. Every hardship is preparing you for something you cannot yet see. You may not feel it now, but the pressure you're under is not designed to destroy you. It's preparing you for what's coming. It's stripping off the things that can't go with you into your next season. It's stretching you beyond your limits, not to crush you, but to show you that your limits were never fixed in the first place, that you are capable of more than you thought, because you are never doing it alone. Trials are not the absence of the Creator. They are often the most sacred evidence that He is near, doing a work deeper than your eyes can see. Sometimes the silence during your pain isn't neglect, it's focus. Like a skilled surgeon working with precision, there are moments when the process is too intense for noise, but the healing is still happening. The growth is still real. So if you're in a season where everything feels heavy, where the road is rough, where you're doing your best just to make it to the next day, hold on. Don't misinterpret the season. You are not being punished, you are being trained. You are not forgotten, you are being fortified. And when the time is right, what has been built in the dark will shine in the light. What was forged in pressure will stand in power. Because trials don't mean you abandoned, they mean you are being trusted with a deeper strength. They mean the foundation is being laid for something greater. They mean you are not staying where you are. You're being prepared for more. If he fed you before, guided you before, lifted you before, he will do it again. One of the greatest weapons you have in moments of fear, doubt, or uncertainty is your memory. Not the kind of memory that keeps track of your mistakes, your regrets, or your failures, but the kind of memory that recalls the times you were carried when you couldn't walk. The times you didn't know how you were going to make it, and yet you did. The nights you cried thinking it was over, but somehow morning came and peace followed. The moments you were empty and still found provision. The seasons you were lost and still found your way. It's easy to forget what has already been done for you when the present feels overwhelming. It's easy to let your current struggle erase the evidence of past mercy. But the same power that showed up for you then has not weakened. The same presence that held you together before has not stepped away. The same provider who made a way out of no way is still writing your story. And if he did it before, he can do it again. When your mind starts racing with questions, how will I get through this? What if I fail? What if this time is different? Pause and look back. Not to dwell in the past, but to remember the track record. The faithfulness, the unexplainable timing, the unearned grace. Think about the doors that opened when every other one was shut. The peace you felt in moments that should have broken you. The strength that came when you were at your weakest. Those weren't accidents. Those weren't coincidences. That was care. That was provision. That was a reminder of who has always been behind the scenes. He didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't deliver you then just to abandon you now. What's happening in your life right now may be unfamiliar to you, but it is not unfamiliar to him. What you're walking into may feel uncertain, but it is already clear to the one who mapped it out. And the same hand that opened the sea for those before you, the same mercy that rained down in the middle of the wilderness, the same wisdom that turns setbacks into setups is still working. Don't let fear make you forget. Don't let the current storm cloud your past victories. You've been through battles before and you came out stronger. You've faced dark valleys before and you weren't alone then, and you're not alone now. Provision was not a one-time event. Guidance wasn't a limited offer. Lifting you up wasn't a moment of luck. It was love. And that love hasn't run out. It's not about whether you can see the way. It's about trusting the one who has never failed you. The one who kept you when you were ready to give up. The one who opened doors you didn't knock on. The one who said help you didn't ask for. The one who placed the right words in someone's mouth at the exact moment you needed them. All of that was on purpose. All of that was personal. So when your heart starts to sink, when your strength starts to fade, when the weight of the unknown begins pressing on you, remember what he's already done. Because every time he provided, every time he rescued, every time he showed up right on time, it was more than just help for that moment. It was a promise for every moment after, a declaration that says, if I did it then, I'll do it again. If I carried you through that, I'll carry you through this. The same one who provided before will provide again. The same one who guided you before will guide you again. The same one who lifted you before will lift you again. He has not changed. His care has not changed. His power has not changed. And his love for you has not changed. There are battles you didn't even see because he fought them for you. You have no idea how many times danger came for you and was turned away before it ever reached your doorstep. How many accidents were avoided that you never knew were about to happen. How many plots, conversations, and attacks were silenced in secret. You didn't hear the enemy's footsteps, but they were there. You didn't see the trap, but it was real. You didn't sense the arrows, but they were aimed. And yet, you're still standing, still breathing, still moving forward. Not because of luck, not because of coincidence, but because you were covered by a power greater than what came against you. You see, protection isn't always loud. It's not always announced. Sometimes protection shows up in the form of delays. Sometimes it shows up as closed doors, missed opportunities, changed plans, or people walking away. And while at the time it may have felt like disappointment, it was actually deliverance. You may have been frustrated, but he was shielding you from something you weren't meant to step into. You may have cried over what didn't happen, but what didn't happen might be the very reason you're still whole today. We often measure protection by what we see. We thank him for what we survived, what we got through, what we endured. But true protection goes beyond that. True protection is what never even touched you, what never got close, what was rerouted before you even had to fight it. And you'll never know the full list, not in this life. But every morning you wake up in your right mind, every night you lay down in peace, every ordinary moment that passes without incident is a gift that came with invisible battles already won. And when you look back over your life, there are moments that start to make more sense. There are people who left and now you understand why. There are things you prayed for that didn't happen and now you see they would have taken you off course. There are seasons that seem silent but were actually saturated with protection. Every delay, every detour, every closed chapter, there was a hand behind it doing more for you than you knew how to ask for. And it's humbling because we often go through life unaware, focused on what's in front of us, worrying about what we can't control, trying to fix things ourselves. Meanwhile, we're walking through a world filled with threats we'll never fully understand. And still he shields us, still he fights for us, still he intercepts what would have crushed us and removes what would have poisoned our peace. Not because we're perfect, not because we always deserve it, but because that's who he is, a protector, a defender, a shield that doesn't sleep. So yes, there are storms you walked through, but there are far more storms you were spared from. Yes, there are attacks you overcame, but there are more attacks that never even made it to you. And that's worth remembering. That's worth praising. Because it means you are never truly alone. Even when you don't feel it, even when you don't see it, even when you think nothing is happening, something is always happening. You are always being watched over. That truth should change how you walk through this world. You don't need to live in fear of what could happen. You don't need to be anxious about the things you can't see, because the one who sees it all controls it all. The one who stood between you and destruction before will stand there again. He has gone before you. He stands beside you and he remains behind you, guarding what you can't. So take a moment to breathe. Not because life is always easy, but because you're more covered than you know. You don't need to fight every battle. Some have already been won in silence. Some victories are happening right now. Not in your hands, but in his. You may not always understand the protection, but you can trust it. Because there are battles you never saw, and you didn't need to, because he already fought them for you. Your enemies can't stop what has already been written over your life. They may rise up, but they cannot rewrite your destiny. They may talk, plot, and scheme, but they do not have the pen. They do not hold the authority to alter what was declared over your life before you even drew your first breath. Their words may be loud, but they are powerless. Their actions may be strategic, but they are limited. Because when a path has been ordained, no opposition can override it. Sometimes the noise around you can be so persistent, so relentless, that it starts to feel like it has power. The criticisms, the betrayals, the sabotage, it all seems like it's working against you. And if you're not grounded in truth, you'll start to believe that people have more power than they do. You'll think they have the ability to delay you, detour you, define you. But what you have to understand is this: the moment something is spoken into existence by the one who created everything, it becomes untouchable by the hands of man. What's for you is for you. No matter how many people rise up to resist it, no matter how many doors are slammed in your face, no matter how many turn their backs or try to block your way, they cannot erase what has already been sealed in the unseen. Your purpose does not depend on their approval. Your calling does not wait for their validation. Your assignment does not shift because they don't agree with it. You were not called by committee. You were called by the one who needs no permission to bless whom he chooses. Think about it. How many people have tried to stop what was growing in you? How many times did it look like you were done, finished, defeated, and yet here you are, still rising, still moving, still speaking, still breathing? That alone should tell you something. That should remind you that no matter how fierce the resistance, they are not strong enough to undo the will of the one who formed you. They are not sovereign over your future. They are not the authors of your story. They are only players in a script they didn't write. And yes, they may try to delay you. They may throw obstacles in your way. They may use lies, manipulation, and pressure to distract you. But they cannot touch the core of what's already been declared. They can't cancel what they didn't create. You don't need to fight every attack. You don't need to respond to every word. You don't need to convince anyone of who you are or what you carry. When something is written by divine hands, it carries its own proof. The fruit will speak. The outcome will testify. The favor on your life will silence the noise. There is a freedom that comes when you finally realize you don't have to control every reaction or fix every misunderstanding. Let people think what they want. Let them plan what they want. Because while they're busy trying to stop you, they're only confirming how unstoppable you truly are. Every attack they launch, every wall they build becomes another scene in the story of how it didn't work, how it couldn't hold you, how it failed to stop what was already in motion. You weren't chosen because of who you are. You were chosen because of who He is. And because He is faithful, because He is unchanging, because He is sovereign, your enemies can rage, but they cannot reign. They may surround you, but they cannot shake what's rooted deep within you. You're not standing in your own strength. You're standing in the shadow of a promise that cannot be undone. So walk with peace, move with boldness, live with confidence, because what's already been written over your life will stand no matter who tries to come against it. Your enemies don't hold the pen. They never did. When He is your anchor, the storm doesn't get the final word. The waves may rise, the winds may howl, the sky may darken until it feels like the light has been swallowed up by chaos. But even in the fiercest storm, there is a calm that cannot be shaken. A stillness that lives deeper than the turmoil around you. Because when your soul is anchored in Him, you are not at the mercy of the storm. You are held by something stronger than what's trying to take you down. There are seasons in life when everything seems to collapse at once. The things you depended on begin to fall apart. The people you trusted turn away. The plans you built your future on unravel in front of your eyes. And it feels like the ground beneath your feet has turned to water. Like you're sinking with nothing solid to hold on to. But just because the circumstances around you are unstable doesn't mean you have to be. That's the power of being anchored. You may bend, but you won't break. You may stumble, but you won't fall. The storm may hit, but it won't carry you away, because an anchor isn't about removing the storm. It's about giving you something to grip when the storm comes. It's not about pretending the pain isn't real. It's about knowing the pain isn't final. It's about being connected to something greater than what threatens you. And here's the truth: storms will come. They're not always a punishment. Sometimes they're a part of the journey. Sometimes they're a part of the shaping. But what matters most is not the size of the storm, it's the depth of your anchor. If you've placed your hope in temporary things, people, money, titles, success, then when those things shift, your peace will shift too. But when your foundation is built on the one who doesn't change, then even when the winds scream and the rain pours, your soul will stand firm. There is a peace that doesn't make sense, a peace that comes not from the absence of trouble, but from the presence of the one who never leaves, a peace that shows up in hospital rooms, courtrooms, silent nights of uncertainty and mornings of deep loss, a peace that whispers you're still held, a peace that reminds you this storm is loud, but it is not in control, because storms may surprise you, but they never surprise Him. And maybe you're there right now. Maybe you're in the middle of a storm that's been raging for months or years. Maybe you're tired of pretending to be strong, tired of carrying what no one sees, tired of trying to stay afloat when the current keeps pulling you under. Hear this, you are not alone. The waves might be crashing, but you are anchored in something eternal. The winds might be howling, but you are rooted in a strength that cannot be moved. You'll have to understand the storm to trust in the anchor. You'll have to like the process to believe in the outcome, because some of the greatest strength is forged in the middle of storms you thought would break you. And when the skies finally clear, when the waves settle, you'll look back and realize you weren't surviving, you were being shaped. You were being deepened, you were being drawn closer. And now what once shook you no longer moves you the same way. So don't let the storm speak louder than your faith. Don't let the noise outside drown out the stillness within. You have been given an anchor that holds, not just when the sun is shining, but when the darkness falls, not just when life is good, but when it's falling apart. The storm doesn't get the last word, not when he is your anchor. Not when your soul is tied to something eternal. The storm may pass through, but you will remain. Sometimes the pressure you feel isn't punishment, it's preparation for something greater. There are moments in life when the weight feels unbearable. You're stretched beyond what you thought you could handle. You're pushed to your limits. Emotionally, spiritually, even physically. And it's in those moments when the pressure is most intense that the question creeps in, why is this happening to me? You start to wonder if you did something wrong. You start to think that maybe this is some kind of punishment, some kind of payback. But what if what you're feeling isn't a sign of rejection, it's a sign of refinement? Pressure is often the companion of purpose. You don't press something worthless. You don't apply weight to something unless you're shaping it, molding it, drawing something greater out of it. Think about it. Gold is purified through fire. Diamonds are formed under intense pressure. Olive oil only flows after the crushing. And what you're going through is not meaningless. It's working something deep into you that comfort never could. It's producing endurance, building capacity, increasing strength, not just so you can survive, but so you can carry what's coming next. Too often we ask to be elevated, but we don't want to be prepared. We want to be trusted with more, but we resist the weight that strengthens us to handle it. But elevation without preparation is dangerous. If you're not deep enough, you'll collapse under the very thing you were praying for. So sometimes in His mercy, you're held back, not because you're not called, but because because what's ahead requires more than what you have now. It requires a deeper root, a steadier mind, a stronger faith. The pressure might look like unanswered prayers. It might feel like closed doors, difficult people, delays that don't make sense. But those very things are stretching you, shaping your character, teaching you how to wait, how to trust, how to keep walking even when the road isn't clear. They're teaching you not to rely on how you feel, but to hold on to what you know. That even in the pressure, He's present. Even in the fire, you're not alone. And when you come out of it, and you will come out of it, you'll see that the pressure wasn't trying to crush you, it was trying to form you. You'll look back and see that what felt like breaking was actually building. That the season you begged to be released from was the very season that produced the resilience you now walk in. That the tears you cried in secret watered the roots of a deeper strength you didn't even know you had. Don't despise the pressure. Don't rush the process, because hidden in that weight is the preparation for your next level. Hidden in the struggle is the capacity for greater purpose. You're not being buried, you're being planted. And what's growing in you now will bloom in ways you couldn't have imagined if you just don't give up. So hold on even when it hurts, even when it's hard, because pressure isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's the hand of preparation, getting you ready for more than you thought you could ever carry. When you truly understand who is with you, you stop fearing who is against you. There is a boldness that rises up in the heart of someone who knows they are not alone. Not a boldness rooted in arrogance or self-confidence, but a boldness born from assurance, deep, unshakable, immovable assurance that you are backed by a power far greater than anything that could ever come against you. You begin to walk differently. You speak with authority. You face challenges without panic, not because the threats disappear, but because you recognize they have no ultimate power over you. You know who walks with you, who goes before you, who stands behind you, and that changes everything. The problem many people face is not the size of their enemies, but the smallness of their awareness. They're more focused on what's coming against them than who is standing with them. They magnify the threat and minimize the presence. They feed their fear and starve their faith. They forget that when the one who controls all things is with you, the outcome is never in doubt, even when the process is painful. The one who commands the winds and the waves doesn't need numbers, weapons, or noise. He only needs your trust. You can be outnumbered and still come out on top. You can be overlooked and still be chosen. You can be attacked and still be protected. Because when you're covered, period. The odds can be stacked against you. The room can be filled with people who don't believe in you, people who are waiting for your failure, people who are actively working to bring you down, and still you rise. Not because you're lucky, not because you're the most talented, but because you are not walking alone. You see, once you get the revelation that you're covered, that you are divinely supported, you stop wasting time trying to defend yourself against every critic, trying to explain yourself to every doubter, trying to retaliate against every attack. You begin to realize you don't have to fight every battle, because some fights aren't yours to begin with. They're being handled by a power that sees what you can't see, knows what you don't know, and moves in ways beyond your comprehension. It's not that the enemy disappears, it's that his power shrinks in comparison to the presence you carry. Fear loses its grip when you realize that nothing can touch your life unless it first passes through the hands of the one who holds you. That means if it reached you, it had a purpose. That means if it's in front of you, you've already been given what you need to overcome it. That means even what was meant to break you will be used to build you. Even what was designed to destroy you will end up developing you. There is no shadow too dark, no mountain too high, no valley too deep when you understand who walks with you. You don't crumble under pressure because your support is unshakable. You don't drown in storms because your anchor is secure. You don't fear what's ahead because the one who leads you already knows the way. You don't worry about what people are saying because the one who speaks over you has the final word. So let the opposition rise. Let the obstacles come. Let the resistance do what it does, because every force that stands against you will eventually have to recognize that you are not standing by yourself. The opposition only reveals the strength of your backing. The greater the threat, the greater the testimony. The tighter the pressure, the greater the breakthrough. You don't have to prove anything to anyone when you know who sent you, who called you, who's covering you. And when you move in that awareness, when you truly internalize that you are never alone, you stop flinching at threats that once paralyzed you. You stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never built for your purpose. You stop apologizing for being who you were created to be. You start standing tall. You start walking boldly. You start living freely. Because you know that if he is with you, then truly, who can be against you? Who can overpower him? Who can undo what he's declared? Who can block what he's already released? The answer is no one. And when you live like you believe that, everything changes. You don't just survive, you walk in power. You don't just endure, you overcome. Not because of your strength, but because of his presence. And once you know that, truly know that, nothing and no one can intimidate you again.